To this day, the original Pac-Man arcade game is still considered one of the greatest games of all time. And why not? Look at it! It's classic. It's even been ported pretty much to every video game system known to man, and they never really changed it that much. It was even on the Xbox 360 recently with the original version and the Championship Edition. And why would you alter it? The game still holds up, and it's still just as good as it ever was. In fact, the game was so popular that it actually started to get some sequels, starting of course with Ms. Pac-Man, presumably Pac-Man's wife. It played pretty much the same as the first game, only as Wayne's World taught us, she has a bow on her head. The games are virtually identical, but sadly I've actually heard people fight about which of the two is the better game. After that, there were more sequels to follow, including Baby Pac-Man, and then after that, Pac Jr. or Junior Pac-Man. I don't really remember them, but I'm pretty sure they are close to the original. There was even a Pac-Man cartoon, which I never saw, but based on this pick alone, I don't think I'm missing much. It wasn't until 1994 when we got our direct sequel in the form of Pac-Man 2: The New Adventures for Sega Genesis and for the Super Nintendo. Now, I lost the box for this a long time ago, but I do remember a pretty awesome 3D image on the front, and plus, I don't know what Aladdin's Castle or Cyberstation are, but you got a $5 coupon off, so hey, why the hell not? I remember myself and a lot of people were curious how they were going to do a direct sequel to Pac-Man. Well, let's take a look, because I don't think anyone expected the type of game we got. So our story begins with Pac-Man returning home to his loving wife and his screaming little demon child. The wife asks him to go out and get some milk for the baby, and Pac-Man responds with the saddest expression I have ever seen anyone make ever. Look at his face! Why is he so depressed about this? Why is he really that upset about having to go get his baby food? Is Pac-Man just a deadbeat dad? Well, stick with me and I think I have an explanation as to why he's so depressed about having to go out and get some milk. Either way, Pac-Man chokes back his fear, forces a huge smile, and we're out the door to go get some milk. Here we are introduced to how the gameplay works in Pac-Man 2. Which you'll be immediately surprised to discover you actually don't control Pac-Man directly, but instead, you're in control of a slingshot that you use to fire at objects on the screen to get Pac-Man to pay attention to them, interact with them, or to get the objects to do something. You also push the other button to make Pac-Man look in different directions. Now, it's a little strange at first, but you kind of get used to it, and this is sort of what made people either love or hate the style of gameplay in this game. Me, personally, I think it's pretty fun. I mean, you've never seen anything like it before, it's creative, it's different, and I gotta give the game credit for even trying to do this, and I personally think it's actually a fun game. Depending on which object you shoot, you can also directly affect Pac-Man's mood. For example, watch what happens when I shoot open his mailbox. He gets pissed, and really pissed. Now, this also affects other things, because normally he'd just pet the dog and it would be really happy, but instead, well, he just reams the dog out for no reason until the poor dog retreats back into the house all sad. I really don't understand why of all things to set Pac-Man off it's shooting the mailbox door, but I'll say this, it's good that no one's home when you go inside or else he'd just grab Miss Pac-Man and start smacking her around, screaming incoherently about his mailbox door. And while we're on the subject of Miss Pac-Man, what the fuck is her problem anyway? Take a look at this. She comes out and at first Pac-Man's so happy to see her, till she bitches him out about the milk. It's maybe been 2 minutes. So spears to crush, she obviously doesn't give a shit. And, well, off he goes, and look at him. He's completely destroyed, and that took her maybe 3 seconds to get him this low, so you know it's happened before. Look at him. You just want to give him a hug or murder his wife so he doesn't have to go through this anymore. It's really kind of a disturbing peek in how the Pac-Man household works. Now, in all fairness, it may not be entirely Miss Pac-Man's fault, because if you watch this, well, a farmer also yells at Pac-Man for trying to sneak by him, and at the end of it all, well, Pac-Man ends up just as depressed as he did when he talked to his wife, which I can kind of see how she could push his buttons and get him like this. Well, how did a stranger on a farm get him like this? Well, there's really only one thing he could have said to get this kind of reaction. Ooh, just a second there, Pac-Man. Just thought I should let you know that I'm fucking your wife, I fathered your kids, I literally just finished murdering your parents, I'm gonna cut your testicles off tonight while you're asleep, and everyone in town hates you and thinks you're a racist. See, of course, now Pac-Man's expression makes total sense. Who the hell wouldn't look like that if a farmer gave you all that information at one time? Of course, there are many ways in the game to cheer Pac up when he's feeling low, like having him stare closely at a cow's ass. Huh. Of course, sometimes all it takes to cheer him up is some good old-fashioned murder. Now, I'm pretty sure no farmer can survive that. Pac checks on the body, is relieved to find out that he's dead, giggles his ass off, and off he goes, cheerier than ever. Remember earlier when the question was posed as to why Pac-Man was so upset he had to go get milk? Well, here's why I think that is. Well, I think it's because the second he leaves the house, everybody in town is trying to kill him. Which brings me to actually the most fun part in the game, finding the dozens and dozens of different ways that you can kill off Pac-Man. You can do anything. You can have cats maul him, you can have cows whip him with their tail, you can have him hit by rakes, you can have him hit by negligent farmers opening doors with apparently enough force to actually murder somebody, you can have skateboards fall on his head, rocks fall on his head, you can have him trip over a rock while riding a hang glider, which, let's look at this, in all honesty, he really should have seen that one coming. I mean, come on. You can have bees kill him, which is actually a pretty long, horrible looking death. Each screen of the game usually offers about 5 or 6 different ways you can kill Pac-Man. He can die in so many ways. Kinda reminds me of that old game Bubsy, but not nearly as fucking annoying. Maybe one day I'll actually get around to doing a full review for Bubsy.
What could possibly go wrong?
Something else to note is that when Pac-Man dies, he's not unconscious or just sort of stunned. He's fucking dead. Look at him. There's no coming back from that. Also, I'd say 75% of the time it's Pac-Man's own fault he dies anyway. I mean, let's watch this scenario play out. Keep in mind, I'm not even touching any of the controls right now. Alright, hits that. It's his own fault, yet here he goes. Starts kicking the thing. He laughs because apparently he's a sadistic asshole now. Oh, good. Dodge the paint. And boom. Now, hopefully Pac-Man realizes here as he flies to his doom that, yeah, maybe he shouldn't have been kicking the paint stand. Now, I've been playing this game off and on for about 14 years, and I'm still figuring out new ways to kill off Pac-Man. It's just so much fun figuring out all the different deaths that you can cause him to have. It's a little sadistic, sure, but god damn is it ever funny. Now, I showed a bit of the hang gliding sequence earlier, but I feel I should elaborate a bit more on it. It's not bad, but it's probably one of the sequences of the game I could do without. I see the angle trying to get more of an action sequence into there, but the controls are awkward, shooting him to go down and pressing the button to go up. There's a lot of trial and error. If you hit anything, you gotta start over. It just takes some patience, and it's just not as fun as the rest of the game. I should also mention that if you visit the arcade in the game, you can actually play the original Pac-Man arcade game. This Pac-Man is in there too, but you have to collect tokens throughout the game to be able to play it. One complaint I do have about this game is that it's very short. In fact, you can beat the first level in less than a minute. All you have to do is walk one screen to the right, get this crow to knock the milk bottle down. I don't know why Pac-Man can't reach up the one foot and just grab it with his hands, but okay. The milk bottle lands, of course, conveniently right next to the cow's udder. Pac-Man stares, puts 2 and 2 together, gets real excited for some reason. Now we're treated to a scene of him actually milking the cow. Then Pac-Man dances like he found the Ark of the Covenant, and that's it. That's level 1. Maybe that's why he didn't want to go get milk. Does every person in town have to go get it from this one cow? And who's going to look after him since, well, we're just about to murder his owner? I can think of about 1,000 easier ways he could have gotten that milk, but whatever. That's the end of the stage, and after that, there's only 3 more. Like I said, it's a really, really short game. Overall, there's probably more I could say about it, but I think I've pretty much covered all the major points of this game I wanted to talk about. And I gotta say, it's fun. It was fun when I was a kid, and it holds up surprisingly well. It's not for everyone, like I said, the gameplay is gonna divide people, but if you're looking for something different, I would give this one a shot, because you can probably pick it up pretty cheap right now online or in a used game store. And like I said, it's short, but it's fun, and there's replay value because you can mess around with stuff and find all the different ways that you can kill off Pac-Man. I would definitely say that this is one of the overlooked games on the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis, and I would highly recommend you give it a shot. I gotta give Pac-Man 2 The New Adventures a 7 out of 10 overall.